What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Wild day yesterday between earnings from the night before, earnings yesterday morning, and we got some more earnings today. Last night we had some, specifically Meta, we had QCOM, we had I think Moderna got absolutely rocked. Carvana was crushing it. And then to just top off the cake, we get Jerome Powell with his song and dance yesterday. But more importantly, we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. We got Anna. Good morning. Bill, Brian, Cheryl. Good morning to Corey, David D. We got Jay, Joe, Lauren, Matthew, Mike, Vidrin. Good morning to you. We got Wendy. Mike just popped in. Good morning to you as well. We got Santilla in the house. In YouTube land, all my other people in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And let me know what tickers you guys see that looks exciting for today. But Jerome Powell, for anybody that did not get the opportunity to listen to it or to hear what he was saying or was confused by anything he was saying, I was expecting kind of more of a muted, on the fence Jerome Powell, just kind of passing the time. We were expecting no rate cuts. We got no rate cuts. I don't think that was a big deal. August, I don't think we were kind of expecting it. Although even for yesterday, there was like 3% of people thinking that we were having some maybe rate cut, but very, very low odds. So that's all fine. I expected Jerome Powell to come out and just say still data dependent, which he kind of did in a way, but it was different this time. So he was saying, yeah, it's obviously data dependent, but it's not one particular data set we're looking for. We just want to see kind of trends continue. We have, I think, a big shift in what he was talking about was not so much just rate cuts, but he was going back to the dual mandate of the Fed, which is uh, to also ensure maximum employment as well. So I think tomorrow's employment data is going to be big. I think that's something that the market's going to be looking at. We just obviously had the jolts, so everything is looking decent for that. But if we see any significant job shift in the job market, something like that, I think now Jerome has to kind of focus back on that. And he kind of threw out. He was trying to leave as much like not confidence for everybody as possible, but he was pretty much saying, yeah, we're pretty much ready to go, providing nothing else crazy happens in the data that comes in. We're pretty much ready for the rate cut September. He was also asked, is it more than 25 basis points? And he's like, that's really not even on the table. So now you're looking at a pretty confident Jerome Powell looking at a 25-point rate cut in September. Markets were loving it. IWM was ripping off of it. And we got some good follow through from Jerome Powell. So not bad. But he definitely came in with a different sentiment than what I thought. I thought it was gonna, like I said, just be as neutral as possible, give himself some more time. But he even had a comment in there where he said they were discussing the rate cuts for coming in for rate cuts for yesterday. So that was actually on the table. I think he's ready. I think he's ready. So we'll see. We'll see how the data comes in and see if anything changes for August. But right now it does look like probably the first rate cut will be in September. So we'll see how that plays out. Otherwise, SPY today. Again, we had a good little rip yesterday. So let's go into the intraday because it was interesting. We did have the pullback after Jerome, so he got off the mic somewhere around here, finished his conference, and then the market kind of just got right back into where that first rate hike was announced. But we did show a little bit more bullishness, and this is probably some profit taking. I think that gives the market its blessing again, providing that tomorrow's numbers for jobs are good. I think at this point, the only two data points that really matter is inflation. Can we get it closer to 2% that he's looking for? And is everything just continuing to be strong in the job market? And if it is, I think we're pretty much there for what they need to see for those rate cuts. So it was a good way of saying, yeah, we're going to get the rate cuts without actually kind of really saying it. Again, throw a little doubt out there, I guess, but he came off pretty, pretty confident in himself. It was very, I would say very transparent in what he was saying. And I haven't seen that side of Jerome Powell yet. So very interesting conference. But market is ripping. I think some of it due to continued rate cut talk from Jerome Powell. But then we also had some earnings. I think the big one was Meta. Like I said, Carvana also just absolutely tore up earnings. So that one's kind of crazy. QCOM, it did beat, but then I think some of the guidance and forecast from the conference call just beat it down. And I think it's actually opening a little bit lower. So we'll see. But this gap, interesting location. We do have kind of right at support resistance. I would say somewhere right around this 552.99. I think we're kind of at it, maybe slightly below it for right now. We do have some more resistance that we were looking to get to. And I might have to flip back to that chart, but I got 555.01 is the high point. The one after that, or before that would be 554.38. Where did we get to? Live trading yesterday, we got into 553, and then we got into this 554.17. So we got pre-market today, we got kind of right into that zone where I think some bulls might be cautious. This is for right now still an inside day. I'd be very curious to see if this zone that we just talked about, this 552 and change, 552.90, whatever it is, if that does hold. Otherwise, I think we get a retest today. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a retest, especially that we have jobs data tomorrow, and then kind of let the jobs report do the work and push us in the direction we need to go. But if we do get this pullback, which I think is probably more than likely, we're probably looking for a 550.64 bounce. Overall, again, still bullish, and I think this market kind of just plays out that direction. And the big level that we got to pass is this 555 for continuation. We're very, very close, at least pre-market to it. And then we already started getting some pullback. So I think this is one that fades, but I do think this is a dip that's probably buyable. I would assume, at least to this point. So, and then if we start getting really underneath yesterday's VPOC, 550 and change, we'll call it 550.46. But if we start getting underneath that level, maybe we start touching on some of those EMAs again, and we get some sideways chop just going forward. It is the first first day of August, so brand new month. Make sure you guys are taking the appropriate day trades, kind of build out your gains, start playing the rest of the month with the market's money as opposed to yours. So if you can lock in any type of gains today, tomorrow, fantastic. Set yourself up pretty nicely for next week. Q's has a pretty good bounce, the very high of yesterday's candle, but still at least to this point inside day. Do I see any real resistance? I guess the next spot would be 473.80. That also takes us to this top of this candle. We also got this 20 EMA. So a little bit of pressure from the bears probably, I think, start to stack up. And I wouldn't be surprised if this one does kind of pull back for this retest as well into 469.89, and then see if we get the bounce from there. So probable bounce. If we start to really break, the next spot higher, which would give us, I think, a really good resistance, is 476.07. So that's the next spot that I'm watching on that one. TLT, I know that was moving off of Jerome Powell yesterday. So really good breakout, good close. TLT, I think, has the ability to continue to go. Next, we have a few levels in here. I don't think anything too serious. And maybe we don't hit this today. That'd be a big move for TLT, but I would be looking for 96.52 on that one. So I think we got out of some decent sideways chop, just knowing that the rate cut is looming. We'll see. IWM, again, absolutely was loving some of Jerome Powell's comments. And I think as we get a little closer into that, we got to watch this one, actually. I think getting closer into the rate cuts, IWM continues. I think that'd be good for Russell's. That is a little bit of a bull trap, making kind of new 52-week highs. We kind of came back in. We still have to face the same resistance, 224.42. So I do think this one goes higher, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little pullback first. We'll see. Really, I want to see if we do come down, this 222 continue to hold. And as long as that does, I think we probably remain bullish on this one. All right, let me see. We got Coinbase. Santil says up and down. Yeah, funny how that market works. I guess people like to lock profits when when they get into trade. I don't know. That's a concept. That's a concept. We got Coinbase. So Coinbase is, I know Bitcoin, I think is still down a little bit. BTC USD. Let's go to that one first. It looks like there's still probably a little bit of pressure on Bitcoin. Where are we at today? They started to buy it up a little bit. I don't love where today's VPOC is though. Still below kind of the rest, holding the bottom of this little pivot. So interesting location. I guess it comes back to this little support we've had over here. So they are trying to buy it. If we start to break down from here, next little location, even that was a good one. Yeah, I guess the low of this one was decent. Otherwise, the next spot would be 62,906, and then it starts to get a little bit scary for crypto space. I would say down to the 61,100. You can see prints of like 60,000 again. We start retesting some of those lower zones. But for right now, it is just hanging out. That's decent risk to reward if you were buying at the open. So a little bit of a bounce at least for Coinbase for Bitcoin. Coinbase also tiny little gap up. I mean, it doesn't look amazing for I'd probably say you'd have a little bit better risk to reward in a bullish direction. I don't. It's got the ability to break out. We're gonna need crypto to fly with it. Again, at least we have our first higher VPOC, so the trend is at least we get some kind of pullback. I think this 231, if you're trading this one today, probably a very strong resistance on it. So if you are taking a trade, maybe see if you can get a little pullback first, try to buy it off the 226.31, and then you're kind of riding it into the 231.29. Sydney says just about to lower trend line. Uh, are you talking about Coinbase? Or are you talking about? Let me know which one you're talking about. Oh, Coinbase. Yeah. Yeah. So you do have this lower trend line in here. I think this is the one you're probably talking about. Let's see this. Something like this. Yep. Got right into there. You did have the higher highs on this move. So your risk to reward is like I said, probably decent in the bull direction. As a swing trade, you might want to give yourself a little more room. I'd still be buying it. I think my entry price on some kind of a pullback bullish here for an attempt. And then day trades going day and swing, my stops will obviously be completely different. But I could do something like this for a swing trade, try to get below that next level. I think as soon as I think you'll have the opportunity to get out of this one for less of a loss than an R, unless you get some kind of amazing breakdown, and so be it. But even if this thing breaks down, I think you kind of retest and then this happens. So on this little fight back into the trend line, you're probably gonna move your stop up as much as you possibly can and get out where you can. But if it doesn't really break this trend line, uh, you're getting a decent price if you do believe we're kind of set for a bounce in the crypto space, which we could for day trade purpose. I think I'd probably go up to something like this. And now you get about a $5 risk to reward. Again, for today's day trade, though, we are still inside day. And I do think this 231.65, somewhere in that space, I think that's going to be a pretty big one. And then if that's the case, I don't get that great of risk to reward on it. So I'd probably have to just let it hang out for a little bit for today, at least. Wait for some kind of maybe a better one. But if you think this thing could break the 234, next spot up is 237. That might be a slightly better trade, even with how I just kind of placed it there. You might get a 1.2, something like that. Let's see. We got Carvana, CVNA. Tesla's getting a little candle to the downside right now. I'm not sure what's happening with that. There's news. Carvana, yeah, they came out. They absolutely crushed their earnings. It's like almost to where they just faked all those numbers. I'm not sure, but they were expected to have a loss. They came in with a beat of 18 cents, so it was a earnings per share beat from estimates of 417%. They came in with another 150 million of revenue. This is quite the little gap on this one. Breaking all pivots. We gotta go back to all the way over here. They also got a price increase, I think, as well to 175. So I think the upgrade's starting to come in a little bit on Carvana. I'm not going to be buying it for the long term at these prices. I think if you really liked it, it was probably closer to uh, the $20 zone to take a stab at it. I think didn't this thing even come lower? Yeah, this thing was a remarkable move. This thing got all the way down to $3.50. And you know, like how people are like, yeah, if you invested in Amazon back in 1752, you'd have at least three extra dollars at this point. Everyone was alive for this one. This was December 22nd. Just uh no one was feeling great then. You couldn't get people to buy at that point. But now all of a sudden you're up at 148 and you get $175 is new price target. So okay. It's a little high for me. I feel like I am chasing this one. If I'm buying it for a swing, I don't think I could do that. So my only outlet, I think, to make some money at this point on Carvana, and again, take everything for a grain of salt. 3 weeks from now, this thing's sitting at $220, and everyone's mad at me, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. Um, but as a day trade, it's not horrible. We got some. It did get closed with a little bit of a green candle, inverted hammer. See if this one wants to pull back a little bit. I guess 146.37 would be the first spot I'm looking, and then if not, if we start breaking that, I'd probably look for that full on retest to back to like this 135. But this is quite the move in Carvana. And again, the earnings were strong. I mean, there's nothing I can really say negative about the earnings. I don't know how they got there, but somehow they did it, and we'll see. But we'll push it higher to the list. If you get some kind of I don't know. I just don't. For me, I don't trust the comp. I'm like maybe if we get some kind of like a deeper pullback, I just don't know where that pullback would be where I start to feel comfortable with it. Carvana's still 18% short float. Yeah, I think as a day trade is how I'd have to try to play this thing. Um, and even that just feels so uncomfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Could be. We got WDC. They came in with a earnings. Looks like a beat. They beat earnings per share estimates by 21%, almost 22%. They came in with an extra 18 million to the revenue side. I don't know what happened on a conference call if there's lower guidance or you just have some people kind of taking some of those gains. Uh, but you are opening under the 200, so not great there. You're opening under the previous VPOC, not great there. You have a little bit of support, not much, but a little bit. And then next target down will be about $60. So you got $3 to the downside from here. It is a it is a gap. Let's see if maybe we could get this one a little bit higher because this is a gap and go to the bear side. But even that candle was inside pretty much essentially those last 2 days of dropping into that 200. What I do like a lot on this one is we were opening below that 200. So anybody just kind of buying that dip might have to now readjust. But $3 to the downside, we can make some money on that one too. It's not bad. Kind of like it. Let's see. There was one more that Albert had. CFLT. Oops. Half of those letters were wrong. Okay. CFLT Confluent. I'm not sure anything about this company. But from the chart perspective, 2258 major resistance. We did break that one down. This was also an earnings beat. Probably didn't mention AI enough, I guess. But they did beat by 27% earnings per share. They also beat by an extra $5 million of rev. You have a little bit of support in here. I think this one probably actually gets bought up, but I think we probably, I don't think it's a full on retest. I don't see us going to $24 today. I think we stall out somewhere around this 22.58. So you have a little bit of upside to it. That's probably where I think the shorts want to pile in, or anybody that was maybe in this thing bullish probably looks to start clearing the house out. So, and again, I'm not sure the range on this one, if this one puts in wild candles or not. The chart seems to be a little bit all over the place. So I'd be a little cautious on this one, just kind of move forward. But for today at least, yes, if you get a couple bids, volume. I'm not sure on this company. Volume might be a little bit to the lower side, so watch the spreads just in case. But it looks short. I'd see if I could get a lot closer. It's 22.58 though. Apple, yeah, Apple. I did look at pre-market or before hopping on it at least. It's got that gap up. I think this one is probably a fade today, providing that nothing changed from when I looked at it earlier. Yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit of a retest gap. You have really good resistance. I would say up into this 224.78. You do have this gap up here. Earnings coming out. Is this tomorrow? Today after the bell? Oh, yeah, yeah. Today after the bell, Apple comes out. Keep in mind what people are going to remember from the last earnings is these numbers, which generally weren't that great. Like they did beat, but in terms of growth, they were kind of a little bit disappointing from what people needed. But then they also came out with their buyback program. They came out with I think probably dividend increase, and they peppered those numbers up a little bit. But some of the individual categories were misses. You're now looking at a stock that is very close to that just had an amazing run since last quarter. And you're very close to the 52-week and all-time highs. So Apple has to come out and crush it. Will they do that? I have my doubts. I have my doubts. I don't know if I'm going to play this one through earnings, but I have my doubts on this one. It's not saying Apple can't crush it. Maybe they do. But at this level, I think they have to really crush it. So I would be looking to go short. I think this is a decent spot to go short on Apple. I'm going to get this one a little bit higher on the list. That's kind of already up there. Um, Target for today. See if we get into this 222.55 zone. If that starts to break, next little level down takes us really into that 20 EMA, somewhere around 221.24. But you should have, I think, a little resistance up there. The only thing that might, I mean, Meta, maybe people are like, well, if Meta could do it, Apple, but they're two different companies in general. We will see. Amazon, I got a couple requests for that one. Someone says, Yuval says, what's with Mara? Probably, if I look at that chart, a lot like Coinbase. Just Bitcoin pulling back a little bit. We'll see if we get to that one too, though. We got Amazon. I don't know. Amazon also has earnings. Was today? Today after the bell? I don't really know if I see a fade. I think the Apple fade is better. At least at opening price. Amazon did run from Meta. I think it was direct reaction. This is a retest gap, but we're not opening at the same resistance that we were. So I guess the resistance spot would be this 190.55. Otherwise, I think a better spot to short would be up at probably 192.33. Maybe we could run into this like 193. I'm much rather short from there. And then the same thing. Do I want to go long here? No, we are up. This is a retest gap. It was a beautiful gap and go from yesterday. I think if you're looking to go long on this one, you're really looking to hop in somewhere around 187.43. Keep in mind earnings are tonight, so you're kind of halfway in the range on this one. So I don't know if I could go bullish or bearish, but if I get a pullback, I think looking to go long, or if we start getting into this 193 zone, I think that might be looking decent for trying to fade this thing. Maybe we're at the 50% retracement of this move. That might be another. Let me fib this thing real quick. If I throw a fib on this one, yeah, even here we are above that 50% retracement. But not quite into that 618. So now we're in this general range where some people might be looking to short, but the fact that we got above that 50 in the first place is good for the Bulls. So I'm a little on the fence on this one. I'd much rather, I think, sit on my hands, wait for something to happen, give me better risk reward at either of those levels. Microsoft MSFT, we got Lilly, AMC. I think we could get to some of these. Microsoft looks interesting. Good hammer from yesterday, obviously good volume. Just trying. We might be tough on resistance, especially if the market doesn't want to cooperate. AMD's kind of shooting up now. 423.37 would be my first target. Get through that. I think we got a good move to like 427, which would be a pretty remarkable bounce after they reported earnings and everybody legitimately hated Microsoft for at least 15 minutes. I remember that. That was a rough 15 minutes. People got t-shirts made saying I'm not a big Microsoft person anymore. It's crazy. But yeah, that came and went, I guess. Good hammer, good volume. I'd probably want to play this thing bullish. Look for support at 417. You start to get breaks into that. You're probably heading back to that 200 mark. AMC, and we'll check Lilly, which I know Moderna's down. I always say that wrong. Moderna's down, but maybe just some of the healthcare is getting affected. AMC, good close yesterday. I appreciate that close. That was decent. I think if you're going to try this one, I'd probably be sitting there long. You might run into the squeezes on this thing, but $5.50 would be, I think, a strong little resistance for it. Lilly. Lilly actually got a gap up today. Okay, I was expecting a gap down looking at the chart. Not bad. Good gap up. Big candle, big volume on this one. That's gonna be a tough one to break. And you got that VPOC sitting at 851.21. Still gives you about $20 to the higher side. A little bit of resistance here, so maybe see if you could get some type of pullback first. Maybe make some better risk to reward. But yeah, that looks like a good bullish gap at least. Probably some of those shorts have to adjust those positions, but that I can't believe it. But that is the morning bell. Just happens too quick all of a sudden. I don't know. We need more time. I'm gonna start this at 8:30. I need like a good 30 extra minutes sometimes. But everybody out on YouTube land, I appreciate you joining us each and every day. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons if you have not done so already. And